Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. How you doing? I'm back at the office. Man, I got some great news this morning. I can't wait to go over it with you. And we also have special guests, our contributor, Chris Hampton here. First, a quick look at our macro watch list over here. SPY Q pretty flat, Apple flat. Tesla has earnings tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. You can see Bitcoin here, a little up this morning, which is sometimes a proxy, a little bit ahead in terms of how risk assets are going to do. I'm still long gold. A little drop this morning, but I got to have this as an inflation hedge, still over the 20 DMA. And natural gas finally coming off. Look at that rocket ship. Unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And hopefully this little drop is a sign of things to come. Put a stop to that inflation, I hope, soon. So that's a quick view on the macro, but I want to jump into specific stocks because there's a lot of interesting news out there, and we'll bring on Chris Hampton in just a second for QCCUF. But first, I want to know CMPI. CMPI was bought out this morning for a 40% or so premium, up 331% now. $10.50 is the buyout price. This is super, super significant for me. I am very excited about this because it shows two things. This is a biotech stock being bought out by Regeneron, and it shows that certain risk assets are really oversold, number one. And the other thing it shows is that deals, equity deals, mergers, buyouts don't necessarily have to be moored to market pricing. You can get a deal that's 340% above last trade. That's really good news potentially for stocks like DRIO Health, for TFF Pharmaceuticals, which we have up here, which we'll talk about in a second. So we'll circle back to those names in just a second. But first, I want to bring up QCCUF. I noted this yesterday in the chat rooms for technical reasons. It's above all the key moving averages. I feel like it has broken out here. So fundamentals about QCC. How you doing, Chris, this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you, Ben?
Doing great. Thanks.
Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So QC, I've been patiently holding this for like a year or something. And I don't know, between the chart and the trading action, I feel like the supply's thinning out. Can you tell us the story behind that, why that may be happening, and what your fundamental price target here might be?
Well, back in September, they released their maiden resource estimate, and a lot of volume came in, and it popped up over 100%, but that supply just pounded it back down. The way QC and other junior miners survives is by private placement of stocks, and that's what QC did for its first couple of years of existence. And there are a lot of institutions out there with shares that cost them 5 cents, 8 cents, 10 cents, and they're eager to get out. About 60 million of those between warrants and private placement shares became free trading or warrants expiring last March and April. So, I mean, there was a supply of at least 100 million shares that were held by eager sellers, and that the stock just has to chew through.
And now, to me, it looks like maybe it has chewed through something. So if that overhang is gone, let's talk a little bit about where you think fair value is at.
Well, the maiden resource estimate was fantastic, and the market recognized it as such. But you could infer some kind of value for the resource in the stock using that. But finally, about 2 weeks ago, we started getting analyst reports on the stock. And one from Cormac, I think it was, which was pretty well researched, gave the Opimiska resource, the main resource. They have other properties, but this is really what's driving value right now. The Opimiska resource, a $1 billion net present value.
Oh, wow. And market cap is 35 million?
Yes.
Okay, what's that mean for the stock price?
I mean, it means what you think it means. I'll tell you, the analyst report ended up just giving QC the standard buy and a target price about 2 or 3 times over that. But they got to that by assuming it's going to take $700 million capex to start this mine, which is fictional. It's very well located. That QC is going to mine it themselves, which is fictional, and that they're going to dilute 1,000% at the current stock price to fund that mining.
Okay.
So they're going to 10x their number of shares at 25 cents to fund this.
Right, at 25 cents. So hopefully they'll do that at 75
No, that's not going to happen.
How about they're a little bit into gold and uranium as well? No, don't they have some exposure there?
They are. They have gold exposure through at least their Rogers property, which has an established gold resource, and they own 10 million shares of baseload, which right now looks to be the most promising explorer in uranium.
Is that BSENF?
Yes.
10 million shares in baseload, so that's $10 million. That's like 1/3 of the market cap, isn't it?
Yeah, they often scrape having a $0 enterprise value.
Oh wow! You think they're close to a $0 enterprise value?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, what? How are you playing this? Is this a long-term investment for you? You're trading around the core?
No trading. I've worked so hard to just build a good position in it. It's a long-term hold. There's a lot of value there right now, and the value is going to just keep increasing through the next year. They're going to continue drilling very aggressively, and they're going to have more reports, including another resource estimate and then an economic estimate, which should be huge for the stock.
Nice. Awesome. Well, this is one of the stocks I've held onto with diamond hands through the whole risk asset correction since early November. So we're glad you brought it to the community. And with this little technical breakout here, I'm hopeful this is the start of a little bit of a re-rating in the stock. So Chris, thank you for coming on to the show. I really appreciate your time.
Anytime, Ben.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
All right, that's the story on QCCUF. Real excited about that. But we have other stuff going on, other exciting things. I talked again about this huge buyout by Regeneron at a huge premium. And I think that's going to be good for stocks, for biotech stocks. And luck would have it, TFFP has some news this morning. Some phase 1 pharmacokinetic data out. And we're hearing from some experts in our VIP research room, including Dan Carlson and Zach, that this is actually a significant milestone because it starts a clock on an option for, actually, let me see if I can find out a little bit more. I asked them this morning for a little more details, but there's an option. Here we go. 45-day option is triggered now for Union Therapeutics to exclusively license this drug that they did the phase 1 on. What's the name? Nicotinamide, all right, or walk away. So 45 days to exercise. It'll be $210 million in combination of upfront and milestone payments if they take that exercise, plus ongoing royalties between 10 and 20%. So now let's go back to that chart. And we can see the market cap is 146 million. So potentially they're going to get 210 million within 45 days. And you can see the stock is already up 7.8%. Although in pre-market, you really got to look at the bid at $6, but that's still up. And yeah, I think what happened with CMPI, I think is going to be huge sentiment booster. Even if it's not a market sentiment booster, it could be a sentiment booster on an individual level, to give yourselves a little more conviction and diamond hands to be able to hold stocks that you think are undervalued through this environment. Because as you can see, you can have deals that are 300-400% above last price, especially in the biotech sector. So 2 really good pieces of news, CMPI for the sector, and then specifically TFFP had good news. So very excited about that. TFFP, I do have a solid position in that in my IRA. It may be worth something looking into as a trade if you'd like, guys. And I think DRIO Health is another one of these that could benefit. You can see it's up this morning, but again, last trade not too meaningful, 700 shares. But I had talked to CEO Erez about another option like TFFP of Sanofi Pharmaceuticals buying shares in DRIO. As you know, they're in a partnership. They got $30 million up front with some sort of option to buy equity. And from my understanding, that option is in the like low 20s, 20, 21, $22 range. With the stock at $6, Ares is telling me, hey, yeah, if they want to take that option, that might have to be renegotiated lower. I'm not sure how much lower, right? If Ares can throw this at them and say, hey, look at Checkmate Pharmaceuticals, they just got bought out for a 5-time premium, that's going to be some good negotiating leverage. So I think it's really good sign for all of the biotechs. Lockheed Martin had earnings this morning. There's a couple disappointing things in here. If you go look at it, guidance was still good, reaffirming sales and EPS, but there was some stock falls after sales miss estimates, but there's something else in here. Sales hit by supply challenges. And the other thing I saw, talks hit by inflation. At Lockheed's F-35 talks hit by inflation because they have fixed price contracts. Now they have to recalculate some deals that were in discussions, pushing them behind getting those signed. So that could be an issue. But look, overall, it's a 20 PE, 2.4% yield. And we know this has sentiment tailwinds probably for a long time because of what's going on in Russia. So that's the story with Lockheed. We have earnings on Tesla coming up tomorrow. We have earnings on Netflix today if you want to take a look at that. You all know my Kodak thesis. Hey, just got to have patience. It's having a little bit of trouble. It's hanging on valiantly to the 200 DMA. Hopefully, it's going to hang on to that, and we can get a catalyst that can take us up soon, as that is my largest position right now. ANDE, do we have news on that yet? Earnings are coming up very soon. I've been highlighting this wheat play. So take a look at that. I may be shaving some off soon, as I mentioned, when the RSA gets a little bit overbought, kind of is overbought. So that's something to look at. All right, we're gonna close out the show in just 1 second, but we'll do one last look at our news feed to see if anything important came out in the last 10 or 15 minutes. I don't see anything. We forgot to talk about Twitter. I assume we'll see some news or filing from Elon Musk very soon. Let's take a look at one more watch list over here and see if there's any news out in the last few minutes. Funware partnership. I really don't like that company, so we're not going to be looking at that. And that's all we got. So, guys, have a great day. If you want to get this via, you can go to StoryTrading.com and become a VIP member. Otherwise, you'll get this on a delay out on our social media. Everyone, have a great day.